everyone, welcome back to WsCube. In our today's session, we will be creating a mini project. So far, we have created many projects and we will be continue to create many more in this whole course. So let's talk about this mini project and what we are going to do in this project. So guys, you might have seen a lot of applications, a lot of softwares nowadays where if you provide with a paragraph to them, they will count you everything over there. Like they will count you how many total words are there, how many spaces are there, how many upper cases words are there, how many lower cases words are there, how many repeated words are there. They provide you with all of these information, right? So today we will be creating a program which will consider a case of a paragraph and then it will do all the following functions for us. So first of all, let's have a look on what do we have with us. Before that, if you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn from our experts live, then you can call on the given number or you can fill the form that is provided in our description. Not just that, with our every batch, you will be getting 2 demo classes for free. So here I have considered a string. I have a whole paragraph written about Harry Potter. So here we will be counting these following things. I have already written down. We will be finding the total number of words which are there in this string A. We will be finding the total number of spaces in string A, that how many total spaces are there. We will be finding the total length of the string, that how many total characters are there including the blank spaces. We will be finding the total number of lowercase words over here, not the lowercase letters, but we will be finding the whole lowercase words over here. We will be finding the total number of uppercases words in a string, and then we will be finding the total repeated words in a string. So let's get started. First of all, let's see what is our first task over here. Our first task says that find the total number of words in a string. So all you need to do is find how many total words are there in a string. How it can be found, we can split it with spaces and then we can count the each number of words over here. What we need to do over here, we need to go all the way. We need to find the length of the whole thing and then we have to split it with the help of the spaces. So we'll be finding the length plus we will be splitting with the spaces, that every word will become a character over here. For that, I'll create a variable, let's say k over here. K is equals to len length, because we are finding the length of the whole string, whose length A's length dot split, which will be splitted with the spaces. We don't need to define the spaces over here because default is spaces. If inside the split you are not writing any value, then the default is spaces over here. After this, you can print over here the total number of words are. I'll put a comma and write k. Let's run and see what output we get. So we are getting 84 over here, and guys, if you want, you can give it a try. You can try it on a software also. It will still give you the 84 as answer. I have tried it already to check if it is working properly or not. Next guys, our next task over here is to find the total number of spaces in a string. This is a very simple method. If you want to find the total number of spaces, all we need to do is use the count method, which will count how many spaces are there inside our program. So for that, all we need to do is create another variable. Let's say I'll call it z is equals to a dot count, and what it is supposed to count, the spaces. And if I print the total number of spaces are, I'll put a comma over here and write z. Let's run and see what do we get. So we get over here that the total number of spaces are 83. And if you check it on any software also, it will give you the exact same answer. Our next motive over here is to find the length of a string. We need to find how many total characters are there. So for finding the length, we have a very simple method in our strings, that is the len method. So all we need to do is write a variable. Let's say I'm creating a variable z. Z is equals to len of a, and all I need to do is write print the total length is, I'll put a comma over here and write my variable name, that is x. So if I run it, it tells me that the total length over here is 523, which counts everything, that is the spaces, commas, inverted commas, double inverted commas, and if we have used apostrophe anywhere, everything it counts. So total characters are 523. Our next motive is to find the total number of lower cases words in a string. Let's see how to find a total number of lower cases words in a string. Just for example, let's say I have created a string a is equals to welcome to WsCube. Okay, this is my string. Now I want to count how many lower cases words are over here. You can clearly see there is only one, that is 2. But if we have a whole paragraph, in that case, how we will be counting? Let's see that. For that, we will be considering a case where I will be creating a variable called as words. Words will split all the words because here it is a whole string. So what this words will do? It will split it in a form of a single word over here. For that, we will be writing a dot split and split with the bracket. So brackets over here means that if we have not written anything inside it, the default is space in between. So words is equals to a dot split and then there is a space in between. We will also create a variable called as count, which will keep a track of how many total number of lower cases words we have over here. So right now it is 0. Initially it will be 0 because right now we have not started counting it yet. Now what we need to do, we need to go and check for each word over here. So if we are going and checking for each word, that means we are iterating through the string. For iteration, we use a loop over here. So we will be using a for loop that for, consider any variable for z in words, and what we will be checking, we will be checking if this z dot is lower or not. We need to check if this word, every word is a lowercase word or not. If it is lower, if this z is lower, in that condition, what we will be doing, we will be increasing this count by +1. So we will be writing plus is equal to 1 over here, that every time it finds a lower word. So it will go for the first one. It will check if it is lower or not. It is not lower because the first is W, capital W. Next, it will go for the second one, and if it is lowercase, that which we can clearly see that it is a lowercase. So right now the count is 0. After this method, after this loop, after the execution of this loop, this will be converted to 1. And at the end, if suppose we have another word over here, let's say we have tech also, which is written in capital small t. So we have one more lowercase over here, so we can convert. Let's say in the end it got the count is 2. So let's apply this method to our program. So first of all, I'm creating a variable word. So over here, words will cut the whole string into single words. So a dot split by spaces. After that, I'll be creating a variable called as count, whose value would be 0. As I told you that why the count is supposed to be 0 in the starting. After that, we will be using for loop to iterate to each word inside this string. So for z, or let's say for b in words, colon, what we will be checking if this word, whatever word we are iterating right now, is a lowercase word or not. So if z dot is lower, if it is lower, in that condition we will increase the count by +1. So count will be increased by 1. We don't need to give for a condition of else over here because we don't have any second condition. We can only use one single if statement which says that if z is lower, so it will iterate to the throughout the end, and if anywhere the z is a lower case, that means a word is a whole lower case, it will increase the count by +1. And lastly, we can write our print statement over here that the total number of lower cases words are, and I'll put a comma in between and write count. So let's run and see what output do we get. So here after running, we get the output over here that the total number of lower cases words are 60 over here. So in the whole paragraph that we have over here, the total number of lower cases words are 60. Similarly, we can do it for the uppercase as well. For uppercase, we need to follow the same method. So uppercase over here does not mean that the whole word should be in the uppercase. We are talking about the first letter of it as an uppercase. So we will be using the similar method over here. We will be writing words. So here I'll be considering it as word. Word is equals to a dot split, open close the bracket. I'll create a variable called as count1. Okay, count1 will be on 0, and then I will be creating a for loop that for c in word, colon, if c dot is title. If you guys remember, in our string functions we have learned this method that it gives us true if it is a title. Its title means that the first letter of the word should be capital. Only if the first letter of the word is capital, then it gives us true over there by using the is title method. So here also we will be using is title, and then we will increase the count 1 by plus is equals to 1, and lastly we can print the total number of uppercases words are, and count 1. So we get the output over here that the total number of uppercases words, that means the first letter of each word, where the first letter of each word is capital, is 23. Nextly, we will be talking about repeated, that we need to find the total number of repeated words in a string. We need to check which word has been repeated, and we will also be counting how many times it has been repeated. For that, we will be using a dictionary over here. Let's understand how it can be done. So guys, print count. After printing count, we can clearly see it is giving us all the values over here, that how many times every word is repeating. But we don't want it for every word. We want it for the words which have been repeated twice or more than twice. So what we can do over here, that we can use a list over here. I'm creating a list called as let's say final. So my final would be an empty list. Now I will be again using a for loop to iterate through these values and check if it is greater than 1, then only I'll append that value inside my list. Okay. So what I will be doing, I will be iterating through it. That's why I'll be using a for loop, that for n in count colon. So count is our dictionary that we have to iterate through, and we will be giving a condition that if count of n is greater than 1, that whatever that when we are iterating through it, the values over here, count of n means that the values over here of any key. So here we have keys and values over here, right? So if Harry is there, Harry has 2. So the value is 2 over here. If the 2 is greater than 1, then yes, it will get appended to the list. If it is smaller than 1, then it will not get appended to the list. So we are giving a condition that if it is greater than 1, then we will be appending it to our list, that is final dot append. And what we are going to append? We are going to append n, and lastly we will print our final list, which will give the list of all the words that are repeated inside our string. So if you want, you can write it over here. So let's run the program and let's see. So now it tells me that the words that has been repeated multiple times are Harry, of novels, the with the capital T, the with the small t, and all, and wizard. So these are the words that has been repeated multiple times. So I hope this method is pretty much clear to you. I'll just explain it once again. That first of all, what we did, we because we wanted to iterate through the whole string, that's why we first converted into a small one word. For that, we created a variable where we splitted each word over there. We created a dictionary, an empty dictionary, which will keep a count of everything. After that, we created a loop over here where we wrote for n in m. M is what? A dot split over here. That is our m. We checked for a condition that if this n, that means if each word over there is not in count. Count is keeping the track of all the words over here. If it is not there, then we will keep the count as 1. If it is occurring only one time, then it will keep it. We will be keeping the count as 1. If it increases with the number of times, it increases, the number of pluses over here increases. So plus is equals to 1 over here. So every time that word will occur again inside that whole string, it will be increased by 1. After that, we printed the count. So here we've got the whole dictionary which has the count of every number, which has the count of every word over here and how many times it is occurring. But we don't want it for one word. We don't want it to show us for those words which has been repeated even once also. So what we have done over here is we have created a list over here, that is our final list. Will keep the track of all the words that has been repeated multiple times. After that, we used a for loop to iterate through this dictionary over here. We iterated with each key and value pairs, and we checked for their values, that if their values were greater than 1. If they were smaller or equal to 1, we didn't do anything about it. But if they were greater than 1, in that condition, those keys were appended inside our list. That was our final list. And lastly, we got printed. And lastly, we printed our final list over here. So guys, here our program is finished. So it's basically like that kind of softwares or applications which counts how many words, how many letters are there, what is the length of the whole paragraph, how many upper cases words are there, how many lower cases words are there, how many repeated words are there. So it keeps a count of everything. I hope guys what I have explained you in this session is very much clear to you now. And stay connected guys, we will be creating much more mini projects over here. So I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.